Hello, welcome to the State of Waste for February 26, 2023. We just hit the fiscal policy cutoff this last Friday. So now all the bills will be, if they didn't pass chambers, they're considered dead. And I'll talk about a couple of those. And then bills that did pass out of committees into the Rules Committee, those are now eligibly voted on by the chamber. So the next week, up until March 8th, that's the cutoff for bills to pass out of chambers. There'll be a lot of just House debates, House floor debate, and then Senate floor debates as well. So as these pass through, so scheduled for public testimony in the new chamber already. These Senate Bill 5065 about bone marrow donations, that's been scheduled for public testimony in the House Education Committee and also the Equity and Highly Capable programs. Referred to committee in the new chambers, House Bill 1015, the para education requirements, making it a little bit easier for paras to meet their requirements since the testing requirement, ETS, has stopped their tests, so they're coming up with different tests. House Bill 1113, information on reprimanded teachers. House Bill 1146, notifying parents of the dual credit opportunities. And then the Senate Bill 5019, I did listen to this in the Senate floor debate. There were some amendments that were offered, and this was almost a strict party line vote as far as who voted for and against, but it removes the school safety portion of the prototypical model from the state budget, so they won't provide money for those things. Schools can still choose to use their money for that, but it does remove it from that model. Lots of the bills are still on the second reading calendar. Some new ones that got added that made it through the fiscal committees would be the small school district funding bill, enhancing the college-bound scholarship instruction on sex trafficking, pathway options. The school recess House bill um, did make it through. There were some more amendments on that coming out of the fiscal committee, but didn't really change a whole lot as far as there is some pushback as far as mandating versus suggesting. So, and then House Bill 1536, withholding high school diplomas, the ESD elections credit for work experience, just involve students high school and beyond plan, and the skill center course equivalency. Those have all been placed on the second reading calendar from the Rules Committee. So they're all eligible for the debates on the floors of the respective chambers. Sent to the Rules Committee would be House Bill 1109, special education funding, the reimbursement for IEPs done through the summer, and a new bill that popped up. All these new bills that keep coming and they get rushed through the process. So allowing 10th graders to take an online running start course. It's interesting that we know that remote learning didn't really work very well, and so then there's a bill to let 10th graders take one running start course online. So it's rather interesting to look at the dynamics and what we've learned about online learning. And where that goes, who knows? We'll see if it gets debated on the floor. The regional apprenticeship program, special ed multiplier, the college and the high school fees has been sent to the rules. So that one had its hearing this last week. That would pay, and they did adjust it. The appropriations committee adjusted those fees a little bit to allow for a distinction between a public four-year institution and private four-year institution and the money they get for those. The 1239 Educator Code of Ethics also would be interesting to see how that fares. And then the student data, being providing all that student data to universities for now as a pilot, and see if we can get that dialed in, and then we'd open it up to tech schools and community colleges as well. Media literacy, free school meals for all did pass out, and that's available for debate on the floor. Initial eval requirements, the restraint and isolation bill, the House bill did pass. I believe the Senate bill for that one did not. So as long as there's a companion bill that's moving through the process, sometimes one chamber won't hear their bill. Professional education workforce, establishing some guidelines for that. We'll see how that gets adapted as it moves through the process. And then establishing a transition to kindergarten program. Some of the dead bills, unfortunately, the COVID money to be used for tutoring, etc., did not make it through, but that has some financial implications, so it could come back. So any bill with some financial issues can be brought back at any time. It seems like, I'm sure there's some specific rules regarding that. The starting age for elementary school at 6 did not make it out of the appropriations or financial committee. The Washington Future Fund also did not make it out. That was going to provide money for people born into poverty that they could use for things, and that one just needs to be vetted a little more, I think. ESA accounts for students, and then experience factor adjustments. Access to dual credit for students. The dual language education requiring students to start a language earlier, a second language earlier, did not make it. And the ninth grade success teams also didn't make it. So you can see that there's a lot of dead bills that did not make it through the process that probably next year they'll come back again. Senate Bill 5559, that's the isolation and restraint bill from the Senate, but since there's one in the House, it really doesn't cause that much of a problem. The Senate Bill 5038, which is the change of contract deadlines, there's always seems like every year coming up with where's that nice date for not only employees if they find out they won't have a job, that they have time to look for another job, and also schools to make that decision concerning their budget, because they're always forecasting a budget based on future enrollment without knowing what that enrollment would be. So some school districts will choose to take the conservative side of that and let some teachers go, and then find out, oh, we have enough employees or enough students to fill those jobs, then they have to hire jobs. So it makes it harder all the way around. So there will be no change for that this next school year. That's all we really have for the week. This will be kind of exciting to see which bills, if any of these, make it to the floor for debate and which won't. And I'll give you an update on what's going on with that next week. Have a good week.